Hi, I'm David Harry, and in this video I'm just going to do a quick audio test between the Ye 4K Plus and the Ye 4K because I've had a problem with them, and this is actually at the request of Ye Technology, who've asked me to submit a video example of the problems that I'm talking about. Okay, so the simple point of this test then is just to show Ye Technology, who have asked me to do this, just to show them the problems that I keep referring to as far as the audio is concerned between these cameras. Basically what's just happened, I've just bought a Ye 4K, and I bought that in the hope that its audio was going to be good. Unfortunately it isn't. It's hissy and it's very thin sound, and what it is, I've had the 4K Plus for some time. I've made a lot of videos about the 4K Plus, about how great its picture quality is, but also about its poor audio. And what it is, I also have a Ye Lite as well. Now the Ye Lite has actually got decent onboard audio, so my thinking was the 4K Plus, I didn't send it back because I love the picture on it, but I got the 4K because what I thought was maybe the 4K might be as good as the Ye Lite in its picture, in its audio. So therefore I thought, well, yeah, if I can get a 4K picture which is like the 4K Plus but on the 4K, and hopefully inbuilt audio which is as good or at least on par as the Ye Lite. In fact, hold on. So there's me Ye Lite there. So my thinking was, if the 4K was going to be good picture like the 4K Plus, but I could use it for vlogging like I would do with the Ye Lite, but have the same audio as the Ye Lite, then yeah, it'd be a great option for me. But unfortunately, it's not. It's just not very good on the audio side. Now this could well be a problem, just with my specific unit, which is fine. Then hopefully Ye can swap it out and I'll get a different 4K, which obviously doesn't suffer from these problems. Now just quickly, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to record on another camera here, just so we can see the setup that I'm using. So let me get that in focus. So let's see, there's the 4K Plus and there's the 4K as well. Okay, so that's just to show the setup that I'm using there, and that they're just placed in a normal vlogging type position and whatnot. Okay, so as I've been talking here, I'll have been flipping between one to the other just to give a clear indication of how each of them sound. Now obviously this video isn't to say how bad the 4K Plus is. This is just to show Ye, because they've asked about what the audio is like on my 4K, and I'm using the 4K Plus as the yardstick for it because it's two Ye cameras obviously, and I personally believe that the 4K isn't actually as good as the 4K Plus for the audio, and the 4K Plus isn't good with audio, and it's not as good as what the Ye Lite is either. Anyway, so this example should have given us a clear indication as to the sound from both of these cameras, and more importantly for Ye Technology is how it sounds on the 4K. Now let me just do a little test there. I'm just going to walk around the cameras. So I'm just in a typical living room environment because this is my living room. So I'm just going to walk around like this and then come back to the front. So that will have given us an idea of how them sound, how both cameras sound walking around it. And there's no other noises going on in this room. It's just me, so there's nothing that can interfere with the cameras beyond me. And let's see, if I get a bit closer like that, in fact actually if I get behind the cameras, so let's just say I'm shooting from behind, as you probably would do if you were filming something and you were wanting to talk. You might want to talk into the cameras as you're pointing them at something and filming it. So right now this is a good example of being behind the cameras, so that you can actually point them and narrate at what you're talking about. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to go outside and do a quick test, just on a pistol grip with both of them as well, and that'll give us an idea of how the audio for dialogue on both of these sound outside. Now what I will say, it's going to be a bit windy, so they are going to pick up wind, but that's not the problem, because I appreciate all action cams, unless they're covered in some way or unless they've got some kind of filtering on, they are going to pick up wind. It's as simple as that. But hopefully the outdoor will also give us another example of how both of these sound. Okay, so I'm outside now, and this is just to give us a quick audio test from outside. Now, the thing is, it's obviously going to be subject to wind, but I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna moan about the wind here because, it's just windy. These are action cams. They've got no wind filters on them or anything like that. So the wind distortion is not something that I'm going to complain about with this. This is obviously just to give us an idea of the problems that I'm talking about with regard just the straightforward pickup of audio on both of these cameras, but primarily on the 4K Plus, because this is the one that you've asked me to make this demonstration video about, just to show the exact problems that I'm having. Now also indoors, what we will have noticed, and the other thing as well, this isn't a video test either, so I've got no stabilizers on, I don't think, so yeah, I'm not judging picture or anything on either of these. Yeah, so basically, you've asked me to do this because obviously I've made a complaint that the 4K that I've got has got very poor audio, and yeah, it's obvious from the indoor test, or at least it should be, and then this is just going to be a further example of them problems as well. Now the other thing is, when I edit this up, I'm going to be putting this into a professional video editing software, which is Edius by Grass Valley. Now also, when I render it out and upload it, I render it out where the audio is in a WAV format as well. So the audio is definitely being given the best possible encode that it possibly could have. So it's going to be uncompressed 24-bit 48 kilohertz on the output. Actually, also on top of that, what I will do, I will also include a link in the descriptions below to a WAV file for anyone who wants to download a 24-bit 48 kilohertz WAV file of this test. Yeah, I don't know if there's much else I could really say about this now. I think obviously this is all example enough of how bad the audio is, and just to be very clear to you, the 4K Plus, I know it's got terrible audio on it, but I'd resign myself to that after a while. And the only reason why I resigned myself to that particular fact was because I just think it's got a fantastic picture. Obviously I've done other things with this 4K Plus, so I can do macro shooting with it and all kinds of stuff, but as far as the 4K was concerned, I bought the 4K because I thought, you know what, it's probably going to have a really good picture like the 4K Plus, and in fact the 4K does have a great picture. I think it's amazing for the picture. But the thing was, out of all of their cameras, the Yi Lite is the best one for the audio for its internal microphones. So my thinking was the 4K might be at least as good as the Yi Lite, in order to, for its dialogue, for me to do dialogue with its internal microphones and stuff, but also get the benefits of the great picture out of the 4K. Unfortunately, that just hasn't happened. Okay, so again, just something else to be clear about here. This problem may well be just my particular unit. I really hope it is, because I really love the picture on this. I just want good audio. So as far as I'm concerned, for what ye are going to be listening to and looking at or whatever, again, to be very clear, if this is broke, then fine, just replace it for us, please. But if indeed it is a problem that affects all of them, and swapping it out ain't going to get rid of it, if you could acknowledge that to me as well, because I'd really like to know whether or not this is an issue that should be looked into, and it's not just on my particular unit here. And the other thing as well, for anybody else who's interested, what I will do as soon as I get any kind of response back off ye, or however we resolve this issue with this particular camera, I'll make a follow-up video to this one as well, which will just tell tell everyone who's interested exactly how ye have dealt with this particular issue. I mean, bear in mind as well, they did ask me to do this, so I really don't want negative comments off all the idiots who have been doing them on some of my other videos, because this isn't me making a video to moan about something. Ye have actually asked me to do this. So whatever these results are at the request of ye themselves. So like I say, I will end up doing a follow-up to this and whatnot and all the rest of it. Yeah, I think this is definitely enough talk now, because I don't really know what else to say. And just on a plus point as well, if anyone's interested in something really cool that you can do with the Yi Plus, 4K Plus, check out my macro video. I'll have a link somewhere in the description or on the screen, but there's some amazing stuff that you can do with the 4K Plus as well. And if anybody else is interested in some of the other issues to do with frame rate problems, and also other microphone issues as well to do with the E range, then again check out my stuff. There's a number of things in there which might help people to avoid certain issues or certain scenarios. And also as well, if you want to see all my stuff, you can see it at ye4kplus.com, which is just a little website that I put together where I can just kind of showcase all my Ye videos. Alright then, so hopefully this is enough of a demonstration for Ye technology to get an idea of the exact problems that are being having with this camera. And yeah, it just remains for me to say to everybody else, thank you very much for watching this video. Take care and goodbye now.